Today is the first class of derivatives, and I'm going to start from the definition of derivatives. Derivatives are, a derivative is an instrument whose value depends on the value of other more basic underlying variable, which means you cannot say anything about derivative without mentioning related more basic underlying variable. This is called underlying asset, by the way. Derivatives is coming from this derived. When A is derived from B, A is derivative. And B is more fundamental variable, more fundamental thing, which is called underlying asset. So every time you think of derivative, you have to think of underlying asset that derivatives are based upon. Okay? And there are four basic forms of derivative. Those are futures contract, forward contract, and swap contract or swaps, options contract or option. Out of these four basic derivative, future forward swaps are very similar. So you could recategorize, and you could say one basic type of derivatives are is future forward swap type, and another is option type. Okay? And how derivatives are used. The first, derivatives are used to hedge. When somebody is hedging, you're trying to reduce the risk. On the other hand, derivatives are used for speculation purpose. And speculation is trying to make money despite the fact that you ends up bearing some risk. You're willing to bear some risk in order to make money. That's speculation. Those who invest in stock market, you could think of them as a speculation. In a sense, they're willing to bear some risk to make money. But turns out all these derivatives that we're going to learn are going to be useful for a speculation purpose. Arbitrage is also making money, but unlike speculation, where you bear some risk, here in arbitrage you don't have to bear risk. So in a perfect arbitrage setting, you don't bear a risk at all, and yet you make money. So when somebody say there is an arbitrage opportunity, it's a really good thing, because without bearing risk, you make profit, you make money. That's an arbitrage. Turns out derivatives are used to make arbitrage profit. And arbitrage are also used in an advanced risk management setting. By using derivatives, you could change the nature of assets and liability. With derivatives, you can develop more sophisticated financial product that can help you better manage the risk that you have to bear. Okay? And we're going to be more specific as we go further. And futures contract is an agreement to buy or sell an asset at a certain time in the future for a certain price. At a certain time in the future is known as maturity date or expiration date. And certain price could be future price or forward price, swap price, option, strike price. The point here is, here we're talking about, okay, what I'm saying is futures contract is very similar to forward contract and swap contract. And in forward, swap, and future contract, you make an agreement now to buy or sell. But then, based on this agreement, at a future point in time, you trade, you buy or sell. Okay, that's future contract, forward contract, and swap contract. Spot and cash contract is you make an agreement and trade simultaneously. Okay, and normal contract, normal trade that you probably face every day in your life is going to be a spot or cash contract. But technically, if you make an agreement to buy or sell an underlying asset and then you trade within 3 days, it's going to be a spot or cash contract. If you make an agreement to buy or sell an underlying asset, but then after 3 days you buy or sell based on that agreement, that's a future contract. Again, since future contract is very similar to forward and swap contract, in forward and swap contract, you do the same thing. You make an agreement to buy or sell an underlying asset now, and based on this agreement, you trade, you buy or sell in a future point in time for forward contract and swap contract as well. Okay? And future price is the price at which you agree to buy or sell in future contract. Since I told you future contracts are similar to forward contract and swap contract, and forward price is going to be the price at which you agree to buy or sell in forward contract. And turns out it is also determined by supply and demand. So there are more buyers in futures market, the futures price will rise. There are more sellers in futures market, then futures price is going to fall. I told you futures contracts are going to be similar to forward and swap contract, but futures contracts is going to be different from forward and swap contract. In a sense, futures contracts are traded in exchanges. There are many exchanges, but oldest exchange is known as CBOT, Chicago Board of Trade. And the biggest futures contracts are going to be CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is also known as Merc. Turns out that CME took over on July 12, 2007, CBOT. So CBOT and CME is going to be a one under the same umbrella known as CME Group. Because time is getting close to 10 minutes, we're going to stop and continue